In the year 2013, there was a police investigation codename Operation Vouch, but the real codename was Operation Racism and Fraud, a $20 million taxpayer fraud. The Tassie 5 consisted of 5 police units which include Customs, the Crime Commission, Special Operations Group, the Federal Police, and the dumbest of them all, the Tasmanian Catch-a-Nothing Squad, nicknamed the Drug Squad. The Tasmanian Catch-a-Nothing Squad couldn't catch a butterfly with a fishing net if there were 500 of them. Their staff numbers are way down due to many failed operations in the past. The Stasi persisted with their crusade, war on taxpayer. They swindled millions of dollars of taxpayers' money, antagonising me for 8 long months, day and night, non-stop, hoping to force my hands to commit an outrageous crime. They deliberately targeted me because of my hopelessness, being single, and most of all my religious faith. The dynamic 5 was spending the budget like there was no tomorrow. They were trying to recruit as many informants as they could, or anybody else that wanted to make a quid on the side. They came up with an ingenious plan to stop the incoming budget cuts by trying to link all the criminal elements into one golden triangle and hoping to create me to be an axe-murderer. There you go, their jobs are saved right on cue. But the plan did not work, so they went back and arrested the crims from the past. They presented a sideshow to fool the public that it was a success, but instead it turned out to be the dumbest crime of the century. The despot got me before in the mid-1990s. A parasite cop by the name of Stephen Lopez, who has changed his name to Mark Lopez, was defrauding my identity in his undercover work. Because of this maggot, I was forced to confront the perils of those false rumours that appeared about me. Now, what human being would do that to another if they are not parasites? They are filth. They are scum. By God, they are the plague of the rats. Now, I warn you, never be a petty rat. Never prejudice your soul for a few pieces of silver. They'll offer you money and they'll promise you protection, but only a God can guarantee protection. You watch that screen and you see the parade of the crime fighters, but you are obscured by those who have vermin in their blood. When you become their petty rat, you are now their slave. You will be amongst some of the recruited filth of society, such as child molesters, for they are the easiest to recruit as informants. You have embedded yourself with a conceited group with fake smiles and false promises who pride themselves on doing God's work for the devil. You have also conjoined your life to the undercover world of lying, denying and deceit. Not only have you given out personal information of others, your own profile has become another statistic in their system. Remember, what you say can be used against you. Is your life really worth a few pieces of silver? What will you say to those that you have informed on if they catch up with you? Sorry about the time in jail. I'm really a nice person. Please give me a chance to make it up to you. What will you say to your child when you were forced to move from one place to another for your safety? Look, kid, we all make mistakes. Better you be vigilante than be a slave to one who puts you and your family's life in harm's way. For those who get caught doing crime, think twice before you turn informant. If you can't do the time, then don't do the crime. Maybe there's that off chance that this intensive surveillance on me was personal, a grouping sexual fetish, a bunch of psycho-mastophiliacs. I'll bet they were masturbating over me. I'll bet they were touching their private parts while I was getting undressed. I'll bet they were swinging together while drinking their passion pops. After all, they knew just about all my movements, including when I was in the bathroom. They deliberately squandered all that time, money and energy watching a phantom while there were serious crimes being committed out there. But the despots don't need to be in Hawaii to falsify warrants. All they do is make up a bogus story, sign the affidavit, and have a portable fax machine on their surfboard as long as there are grounds to be suspicious of someone, even if there are no suspicion. For the courts wouldn't have a clue about the suspect warrants. All they do is hand them out like hotcakes, but the suspicion of these hotcakes is much bigger than you realise. I bet they get the warrants from a vending machine. I bet they get promoted every time they arrest a statue in the park. They go back to the vending machine. I bet they fight crime with the help of their own government doctor, Dr. Ventriloquist. Oh, they were good. They were brilliant. 200 against 1. The Stasi, the Tassie 5 with all the resources to back them, the keys to the city, keys to my bedroom, and most of all, a money printing machine, for who needs gold on their dinner plate when you can swindle the taxpayer behind the Iron Curtain of the Police Powers Act? But I wonder if the task force was sincere in protecting the public from dangerous pensioners like myself. I wonder if they were trying to duplicate the Port Arthur massacre. That would have kept the funds rolling in, saved their jobs, and once again society being indebted to the courage of the crime-making Stasi. But don't call Crime Stoppers. Contact the Police Powers Fifth Amendment Act and get yourself microchipped, for they'll be happy to keep tabs on you. Make sure you ring them up every day and let them know your daily routine, including when you go to score drugs. They work hard for the generous wages they get. For goodness sake, the last thing we need is for them to work up a sweat. But since the mastophiliacs are clandestine in their rort, I've come to realise that there is a conspiracy. The Tasmanian devil is extinct. All the ones you see, undercover cops, because you can swear that they all look and act like one another without the disguise. It is called selective inbreeding. Don't contact the Guinness Book of Records. They know. They match their stupidity for the hate competition. All these years of surveillance on me, the dumbest cops in the land were just cooking the books just to keep themselves in the job. That's why they turned out to be a dud and left with a skeleton force. But don't hold back if one's desire is to participate in the great Prince swindle. Must have vile, debauched ingenuity of gulag nature, willing to inflict scars on the outcasted minorities, able to contaminate the decent police officer's reputation. You'll make the devil's regime and their inbred cousins in Parliament proud. But wait, there's more. The useless corruption watchdogs of this nation have a new title, the Janitorial Commission. That includes the Commonwealth Ombudsman. Between them, they couldn't investigate a possum on a mousetrap. Any toiletries you need, they can get for you, including a shovel to dig your own grave. You send your complaint to them and they expect you, the victim, to come up with documented evidence. Otherwise, you have to be an acrobatic commando, backflipping and somersaulting over fences. You have to attach all the biometrical fittings to your body and walk around like a Dalek. You have to borrow a shotgun and get a personal loan from the bank and hire a private detective. When you're a peasant, you haven't got a hope. I bet there are a bunch of fat people who take public transport in the log truck. I bet they crab walk to squeeze through the corridors whenever they lose weight. I bet they invented that word called integrity while they were grooming each other. How dare they dismiss the complaints and send an appalling reply like a 10-year-old child? How dare they when there are people living on the streets that can do the same job as them? How dare we accuse those common nations of their human rights when our own record is not worth the ink on toilet paper? The ignorant shame of letting the devil play God has destroyed many lives. But for those who have integrity, the ones who investigate are the police officers that were in charge of Operation Vouch and their personal finances, the Tasmanian Drug Squad and their personal finances, all store security, all informants and their personal finances, the former state treasurer, the former state police minister, the DPP, and anybody else who had their finger in the pie. Also to be investigated are those who issued out the suspect warrants, the corruption watchdogs, the police commissioner, the Senate committee who observed the expenditures of Operation Vouch but said nothing about the fraud, the immigration minister Peter Dutton that has connived with the Stasi in the rendition of innocent human beings. Every detail of every misconduct must be disclosed to the public if respectively the Royal Commission is firm. What a shame that the nation has lost its grip on the bastard giggle of Satan as to be imprisoned by the Aryan sisterhood. A bunch of fairies with authority. If justice does not prevail here, if redemption does not equalise here, my Lord, the child in time will consistently manifest this nation's dark, perpetual history as to cement the Berlin Wall of a caveman republic, the dumbest hypocrisy on the planet. Never will the child back down from their conniving authority. Integrity is the ultimate rebellion against persecution when one's life depends on it. After all, what human being would do that to another if they are not parasites? By God, the peasant just ricocheted. The lion is holding the bag, for we are one. Until we are one. Amen.